pop stars. Welcome to this week's episode of the Popcorn Wind Down. I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy.
Thank you for joining us. This week's episode is sponsored by Kicks. They like to kick you up, kick you out, kick you down. For all the latest in shoe releases and shoe collections, check them out at wegotkicks.web. Tammy, are you a sneakerhead?
I was not.
I have become a sneakerhead in my more mature state. Maybe because I can afford them.
Touche.
Some of them, I'm not about to go buy $1,000 pair of Kicks or nothing like that. But I have become more of a sneakerhead the older I get. But and shoe collections have become really cute and fashionable now because there's some shoes that you would never even think to have looked at back when we were younger. And I saw some I was looking yesterday and I saw some Pumas and I'm like, those are fucking Pumas, those are fly. So yeah, just for the sneakerheads. Anyway, this week it's all about you people, which is a modern day twist on the Guess Who's Coming to Dinner tale. Currently streaming on Netflix, starring Jonah Hill, Lauren London, Eddie Murphy, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Hill and London star as a young couple, Amir and Izzy, who have a meet cute and fall in love pretty quickly. Everything is going great until their families get involved. So, Tammy, what did you think of You People? Was it a cookout classic or raisins in a potato salad?
Raisins in a potato salad? I like that. It was more miss than hit. There were some good points, and we'll talk about that as we get into it. But overall, I would kind of miss it more than call it a hit. Overall, what about you?
Damn, not visible raisins in the potato salad. They just kind of sneak up on you. You take that bite, and you're like, damn, what this? Is that a raisin?
Yeah,
Ooh, that is a raisin.
like they hide it underneath all. Yep, they hide it. They're hiding it.
Oh, okay. Um, I think I liked it. I didn't love it. I wouldn't say it's raisins in the potato salad quite yet, but I don't know if I'll add it to that cookout classic. Like it's not a boomerang that I'm just gonna come back to. It was laugh. There were parts of it though that laugh out loud funny, and I liked it. I don't know if this is gonna make sense. I liked it more than I thought I would, but yet I was still a little bit disappointed. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So, what did you like about it?
Okay, so
Oh,
I love the character of Ezra. I really, really loved I love Jonah Hill's character. I thought that it was very, very authentic for how the character would have grown up. Like at the very, very end, when it is explained, like, I grew up around hip hop. I grew up loving hip hop. And yet I know that I'll never truly be part of that culture and truly understand what that culture has gone through. But at the same time, like you could see his true, genuine connection to hip hop and to the culture, as they called it. Also on the fact of saying, like, I love the idea of the podcast. Because it wasn't like he was an ignorant white person doing a podcast. No, it was you and your best friend really talking, never stepped over the line, just having real conversations about his connection to the culture, as well as how his best friend felt about that, and just the stereotypes. But if you notice, the stereotypes only ever came from Mo. They never came from Ezra, right? Ezra just, gave his own perspective of, his role in it. And so I really, really love the idea of the podcast. And I loved his character and the premise of his character. Now, when it comes to like the side characters or Lauren London's character, I was not feeling the rest of the characters as much as Ezra and Mo's character.
Okay, that's interesting. I love both. I know. I mean, it is. Of course, we love the idea of the podcast. No, but I did pick up on what you were saying about the podcast, and those are some of the things I noted too. I loved Ezzy and Mo. I loved their friendship. Um, Mo was hilarious. That one part where they were talking about where he was saying, I think it was after he and Amira had were on a hiatus. Not to give too much away in the beginning, but since we're talking about, we'll just talk about Mo. And then she was talking, and he was like, "I think true love is dead, or he was wrong, or something like that." And then she just goes off about how she got caught cheating on her girlfriend, and she was like, "Well, hypothetically," and he's like, "Wait, that was way too real." And so I was just like, "Okay," but yeah, I loved Mo. And then the scene on the plane where and it was interesting to have Eddie Murphy play the straight man, like the comic genius playing the straight man. It was funny. And no, that's not a homophobe term. It's just what you call the person in comedy who is not the meant to be the funny person, who has that more dry role um, in the take. But I loved him in that role because on the plane when he looked at Mo and Mo was like, "But I got titties," like and so I was just like, okay. But yeah, I did love Ezzy or Izzy and Mo, and I loved their relationship, and I loved Mo. I thought she was the perfect best friend. And I'm so glad when we met his other friends at the bachelor party. I'm so glad that they did not try to make one of them the co-stars, like the co-leads, or have that role as his side, the quote unquote sidekick or the best friend. That I don't think that would have worked as well as having Mo as that best friend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I did like Amira. I did like Warren London's character, and I'm probably in the minority here. And I'm not trying to say anything controversial. I am probably someone who has never truly been a big Warren London fan. So this is probably one of my favorite roles that she's played. Um, so I liked her in this role. Um, I I liked the character and I liked the chemistry between her and Jonah Hill. Um, it wasn't it. I guess it was realistic in how they met. The more they got to know each other, the more they connected, if that seems to be the case. And you could kind of see that. I don't know how they filmed it, but I just think they became, the more they shot together, the more comfortable it seemed like they became. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So, but yeah, I liked her character. There were, and then some of the stereotypes, some of the stereotypes I did not like. Um, like the one thing, so I didn't like when Izzy, when they had that argument when she didn't get the job, um, and Izzy offered to introduce her to a family friend who was the head of a studio or whatever, and she was like, "Why? So I could get the job that I should have had 5 years ago." No, and I'm like, like don't. That's how you get into the business. Like someone is giving you a hand up. They're helping you get your foot in the door, and you're slamming it back in their face because you want to do, I mean, and part of me understands what she was saying, but I'm like, to me that just didn't seem very realistic. Like, why do we always have to be the ones to, to say no to this, to say no to that, to like, I'm like, girl, your pride gonna keep you barely scraping by. Like, I didn't like that part. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah. See, and I agree with you on, I hated the stereotypes. I hated how they played into them. I think they played into them too much and they went too far. And I think I was very happy when Ezra finally called out Akbar slash Woody
Your name is
for
Woody. You was born Woody. I'm gonna call you
yeah.
Woody.
I like it when he finally called out the father for being an asshole. Like because I think it was very, very true, because he was doing too much. I think Eddie Murphy's character was doing too much. And like, I get that you're Muslim, I get it, but if you realize, like, you got to work with the people. And before he even understood who they were, and I guess, finally, he was called out on it, he saw it. But even before you even thought of who these people were, but you knew they were Jewish. You knew they were Jewish. And then for him and Nia Long's character to throw out like Farrakhan, or like all of these, ideas and beliefs that they had, just throw it out to them. And when the mom calls them out on it, they're offended. Why are you offended? She speaks truth. Like, it was honest truth on the words that come out of Farrakhan's mouth when it comes to Jewish people. And so it was like little things like that that just irked my soul. And just, I don't know, maybe it's the liberal side of me, but I will disagree with you on one thing. I did not see the chemistry between Lauren London and Jonah Hill. It started to creep up towards the end, but it wasn't enough to save it. I didn't see it. Like, they just really look like two people that, I don't know, like, was, I guess, getting to know each other, even when we're supposed to believe that they're completely in love. They're at the point where they want to get married to each other. I didn't believe it. Like, I was just like, y'all still at this beginning stage. Like, there's not enough chemistry there. I can see y'all maybe friends, maybe associates, acquaintances. Like, I'm gonna say what's up when I see you down the street. But other than that, like, their romance was not believable to me from beginning to end. It was not believable to me. I just could not actually see it. And it's not even the black and white. It's just, I could not see them two. Like, they did not have the chemistry to sell that relationship to me, at least.
Yeah, there, like you said, there were parts where it's better than others, and I think I I wish we would have spent more time. I think the stereotypes went on too long, um, or the stereotypical behavior of his mom and her dad, and all of that, their ignorance, because that's what it was on both sides. I think they played into that too much, and that went on too long. And I think it took away from us seeing more and developing more of the romance, because you see them meet, the meet cute in the car. That was cute. That was funny. And she was like, "Oh, what you trying to say? We that all black women look the same? That I look like an Uber driver?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, actually." And then so when she sees it, he's like, "Oh God, that could be my twin." So that was cute. I did like that. That was funny. And I think so that we see that they go on their first date. Then you get a really rushed, like, kind of montage of them doing stuff, but nothing that really leads us to believe that. So I think we could have seen more of that dating and that chemistry. We could have spent more time on that, building a relationship, making the audience believe that they were just madly in love. Because there were moments when it's like, okay, I agree with you. It seems like, okay, you're more best friends than you are, you know, that type. So I can agree with you on that. But I think they had um decent chemistry. It was good. It wasn't like um it didn't make me just want to go, ooh, swoon. I want my own Ezra. Well, Izzy, someone with his personality. He had a great personality. He was cool. Um, I love the part at dinner though when Akbar's hat caught fire. That shit was funny. That was funny. That was one of the scenes where I just laughed out loud. The hat catching on fire was hilarious. Um, so what is something you liked though besides Izzy and Mo?
I like the soundtrack.
good. It did have a good soundtrack.
It
The
had a
soundtrack.
great soundtrack. I love the music. Every time the music came up, I was like, okay, I like this song. I gotta research and see what this song is. If I didn't already know it. So
Yeah,
I did,
Shazam it.
yeah, I did like that. Yeah, like it just I was so I actually went and was just like, what does other people think of this? And I agree with kind of putting my thoughts into words on it felt like the black family was more racist than the white family. Because like with the mom, now the with the mom and the dad, I felt it was more ignorance. And ignorance does not always equal racism. And I think it was more ignorance and the fact of trying too hard to make her feel welcomed, right? Like you are different from the rest of us, you look different from us, but we want to show you like we accept you, we fully embrace you. And trying too hard, yes, it can grate on some people's nerves. But I just think that that was mainly it. I think Eddie Murphy, and Amara's family was blatantly being disrespectful and blatantly prejudiced and discriminatory towards her fiance as well as his family. Like it wasn't just ignorance, it was you blatantly in their face being disrespectful, saying what you could to be disrespectful. The first time I actually saw them truly be nice to his mom was when Amira went off on Miss Shelley. And when she went off on her and like Miss Shelley looked like she was trying to cry and she, she was like, "Oh, are you about to cry? Like, am I being too aggressive?" And I was just like, "Yes, you actually are being too aggressive." But and then the mom turned and was just like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, yeah. She was like, yeah. And she was like, okay. She was like, okay. And then she went and dealt with her daughter, but she asked first if she was all right because she saw that she seemed to not be okay, kind of thing. But I just felt like the aggression, it was just too much. It was too much from Eddie Murphy's character as well as Nia Long's character in a way. They were just being too hard. And I was just like, come on. Like, why? Like, when Ezra said, like, why are you going to take him to a Crip barbershop when he has a red hoodie on? And then manipulate him into keeping the hoodie on. Like, are you serious? Like, it just, I don't know. Like, it wasn't enough to make me love the movie or to ever want to see it again. I will never watch it again. But yeah, like, I'm sorry. Like, the good parts were really Ezra and Mo. Oh, sorry, that was my mic. I just hit it. The good parts were like Ezra and Mo. I like the vibe that Amira and Ezra gave off, but it was more BFF vibes than it was I'm absolutely in love with you and I want to marry you and be with you for the rest of my life. But I did like that, chill vibe that they had. They had a very like chill vibe between them, but everything else just rubbed me the wrong way.
Yeah, the part with Miss Shelley, I think the reason, I think a lot of that, like Miss Shelley needed to be talked to. She needed to be told about herself and the things that she was doing that was offensive, and it did not come out. I don't believe it came out of a hateful place, but I think a lot of Amir's frustration, I think all of her frustrations just went into that moment, and that's where the aggression came from. But also, it goes back to that um, she knew she was a lot because her own children told her that she was too much. And she was one of those women who never wanted to learn. And it goes back to why should I have to always teach you? Why should I always have to be the one to teach you or tell you? So I kind of get it. And I get where her, at that point, where her frustration was coming from because she had been really, really patient and bit her tongue a lot. So it's just one of those moments where everything just comes to a head. Because I'm like that sometimes, where if I get to the point where if I've let it slide and it may not, it's not the nicest thing to do, but I'll just let it all out. At that one point when I go off, it's just all of it's coming out, and it's just so. I understood that. I didn't think at that point. I understood where all the frustration was coming from. It was just everything just spilling out into that moment. Um, as far as her father, yeah, he I liked his character. I liked that he played the straight man. There were scenes he where he had funny moments, but there were moments where he was just like you said, downright do too much. The bachelor party, you were way, way out of bounds for just inviting yourself to this bachelor party. And I thought, okay, and to me that was a wasted moment, right? I thought he invited himself to the bachelor party, but now he's going to let loose and they're going to have fun, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I thought that was going. I'm like, okay, this is finally going to be their moment of connection. He invited himself to the party. He's going to let his guard down. He's going to see a different side of Ezra, and this is where it's going to be different, right? But the bachelor party, I was just like, what the fuck? Like that was completely out of bounds. And like you said, it was completely disrespectful. And I was just like, yeah, this is doing too much. Now you're just being a straight up asshole. And I agree with you. His mom, she was never to the point where she was just blatantly trying to be an asshole or blatantly trying to break them up. Whereas um, Akbar, Witty Akbar, um, he was blatantly being an asshole trying to break them up. And I thought, wow. So that was, but I did like the bachelor party scene though when they were talking about the coke guy, and he was like, "No, no, I don't know what you're talking about. That's not me." And they were like, "No, it was you. The last time you were here, you did so much, you shit you." And they were just going on. I'm like, your friends are idiots. They cannot read the room. And even Mo was like, "No, stop, no." And then the guy comes up and he had coke guy tattooed on his fingers. Now that part was funny. And me and my twisted sense of humor. So
Yeah, because I was just like, I thought that it was ridiculous that his friends were such idiots that once you saw that her dad was there, that
you had no self control,
that
like
that
none.
you didn't rein yourself back, especially seeing as
Yeah.
how they wasn't even drunk enough or high enough at that point. The one thing I did find funny was, so you mean to tell me that he's fully connected to the culture, but he still does white people drugs?
Well,
Like,
you
I
know.
thought it was hilarious. I was just like, yo, I was like, I can understand you smoke a lot of weed. I got you. I got you. Like, they all do. But all of a sudden, when it come down to it, you go back to the high end drug. Like,
But look at who his friends were, like day traders, stock. It was kind of like code switching. So he's still who he is, but it was like, okay, when I'm
you
with them,
right. Because
you know,
yeah, his friends were traders. So I would assume that that is the drug of choice for them. You right. You
yeah.
right.
So it was just like, yeah. And then you kind of get the feeling that these are, and I was like, okay, these have been your boys since like high school and college. These are just like the motherfuckers that you're stuck with, that you're stuck to. Because if you looked at it, it's like they did not have a lot in common, and that's why I was like really happy that we got Mo as the best friend. We got Mo as the one who's like we got to see a little bit more of. Um, and I wish we would have gotten a little bit more backstory about when and how they became friends. Like, I agree with you on that. I think we deserved more of Mo. I would have loved to have seen more in Izzy. I'm not Mo and Izzy, but I would have loved to have seen more of Izzy and Amira actually connect, because we saw, like I said, we get a montage of the relationship and it's fast forward. And I understand for time's sake, there are things that you do have to montage. I don't think their relationship should have been one of them, or should have been done as much as it was. Um, but we should have seen other moments of them, just really together, like just like the vibe. I think it would have done more, for them in creating that chemistry. But yeah, so but I think the whole bachelor party scene, when his dad crashed the bachelor party, was wasted. Just like I think the same thing for when she didn't crash the bachelor party, but I think at that point, I think those should have been the turning points. Um, of them reaching understanding, instead of in some ways digging into the ignorance. And um, when Amira invited his mom, Miss Shelley, to her bachelorette weekend, and she met the friends. I think those would have been good turning points and moments to make connections. And I think you could have gotten a lot more out of the comedy if they had been more positive moments rather than continue to play into the stereotypes. And if that makes sense.
Yeah, I concur.
Um, so I did like the cameos though. I did like the aunties at the at the rehearsal dinner before it all went to shit. I love that. The aunties were funny. And I love the actresses and I love the characters. I love Cole, as the uncle. And when they were talking, when he wanted to plan the wedding, and I forgot what did he want, like a Tron wedding.
Because he already had the suits.
And the Tron suits. And then I couldn't figure out, and I guess that's where I get Eddie Murphy was being the perfect straight man. Is like, is he serious or is he being an asshole? Like you couldn't really tell, but at one point you thought Woody is like Akbar is really serious about having a Tron wedding. Because he was all in on Indian long skirt. I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, like this is not happening. So I love that. Do you know who Izzy's father was?
David Duchovny, X-Files.
Yes. I was like, it took me a moment, like, oh my God, that's Fox Mulder. The truth is out there.
Oh, I knew that as soon as I saw him.
I did. And I was like, who? And I'm like, oh. And then, like, I think it's the second time I'm like, that is Mulder. Like, oh. So
It's just hilarious because I never watched the X-Files.
Love the X-Files. One of my all-time favorite shows. Loved it. Seen both movies. Love it, love it, love it. Even watched the revival series. Love it, love it, love it. Seen every single episode. Okay. There's my X-Files moment, my X-Files journey. Well, I guess. Oh, what did you think about the ending? I think, what did you think about the ending? I'll go there.
With the surprise wedding?
Yeah.
With their everyday clothes on?
Yeah.
And a huge sneaker bouquet at the top?
Yeah.
It was stupid.
Why was it stupid?
I was like, oh, this is a nice wrap up. That was my opinion. It was a nice wrap up. Great.
Yeah, it felt kind of rushed, huh?
It felt kind of rushed, but at the same time, I'm sorry, I'm sticking to my opinion of Amira's dad was more in the wrong than Ezra's mom. I'm still of the opinion Ezra's mom was ignorant, and it wasn't necessarily on. She was being like, it was kind of like they wanted to make it seem like she was a Karen, and she wasn't. She wasn't a Karen. She was just very, very ignorant. And look, they have to be educated. They don't know shit. And even when they try to educate themselves, normally they do it wrong. Like, we just have to accept that part. But at least she tried. Amira's dad was a fucking asshole. And so if more apologies should have came, it should have been fully from him. And I think with Ezra's mom, it was, yes, her kids knew that she was a lot, but she was just a lot in general. Like, I feel that if Amira had been white and maybe like Italian or something, she would have still went extra. She'd have been making pasta, thinking that was the thing and everything like that. Like, I think she was just an extra person. Like, she just did that. Not saying that it was right on how ignorant she was, but I'm just saying, like, she just has an extra personality where her kids are always like, Mom, stop, Mom, you're doing too much. Like, I could clearly see that because I can be a little extra sometimes. So
What?
like,
You never.
so I can clearly see somebody be like, Walters, chill. Kind of thing. And but for yeah, so I just feel like the ending when they were like, "Oh, we have something for you. Come on in," and that's what they had, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, that's nice. They got married finally. Great, fantastic." I don't know. I just I'm sorry. I wasn't a fan of the movie, so there's not that much I can find that I really, really loved or I really like enjoyed or laughed out loud about without like rolling my eyes at the ridiculousness of it.
Yeah. I I think that the ending was a bit rushed. I like I said, I there are moments of missed opportunities for what I think could have happened to make it a bit better. As far as keep the comedy, because I, me and like I said, my warped sense of humor. There are moments where I laughed out loud, even if I was like, "You're still an asshole." Like the Vegas scene, that shit was funny. Because I'm like, your friends are just fucking idiots. Um, and the barbershop scene, it was funny in the beginning, and then you get to the point where it's like when you realize, because I'm like, I realize, I look around, I'm like, wait a minute, he really did take him to a crip barbershop. Like that is pretty much a death warrant. Like that's nothing to joke about, right? And
Yep.
so, but I did like the scene on the basketball court where he just schooled him. Like he missed the first couple of shots, then by the time it was done, he was running with them. He had a date to come back. He had an open invitation to come back to the court. And like, yo, whoa, So I did like that, but you know, so I agree with you. Her dad was a little bit more blatant. The ending was rushed. The wedding, it I yeah, I don't know that I understand what you were trying to do, but getting married, and even though I'm not big on weddings, I still don't necessarily want to get married in a sneaker and a shoe shop. No matter how fly it is, no matter how much the shoes are in there. But yeah, I guess it kind of fit their whole quirky vibe. I don't know, but yeah, it just seemed a little rushed and wrapped, like in a nice neat bow. I was looking for outtakes because with that comedy, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, Jonah Hill, Eddie Murphy, even more. So I was like, I kept watching the end credits, just seeing if they're going to have more outtakes, and they didn't. You've seen some of them on YouTube, and I'm like, now that is funny. Like, why didn't this make it into the movie? So I kind of want to see what was left on the cutting room floor. But okay, so I guess that does it. Soundtrack check, Mo check, Izzy check. Everyone else minus.
Yes.
So they didn't do. So from what I'm gathering is they did not do a good job of hiding the raisins in the potato salad. Like you tasted it your first bite.
Yeah, it was disgusting.
Yeah, and I kind of got that when you kept saying, I was like, "Have you watched it?" Oh, I'm about quarter way through. I'm about halfway through. And I'm like, "But okay,
Yeah, it took me. I finished it this morning. The other half of the movie this morning, right
oh
before we
wow,
recorded. So yeah.
damn." And that sucks because I know you were really excited about watching it,
I
like
was. I
when it
really
came out.
was. I thought it was gonna be great. I mean, even guess who was better than this?
Oh yeah, to stick with the guess who's coming to dinner live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I think in some ways it wasted a perfect. It wasted a cast. It kind of missed the moment. I understood what it was trying to do, but I don't know that it delivered in the ways that it should have when it should have. But I obviously enjoyed it more than you. So having said that, what are you rating it? Gosh, is it Mulan? Just tell me that.
No.
Oh, okay,
Mo
okay,
and Ezra saved this.
oh, okay,
It's not that high, but I did enjoy Mo and Ezra. I enjoyed the chill vibe of Amara, but not necessarily didn't believe the love story. So I'm going to give you people 2.25 popcorns. You tried. For me, you failed, but you did better than Mulan, so that's saying something.
okay. I'm gonna give it a 3. And I liked it. Like I said, I liked it better than you, but I'm gonna give it a 3 popcorns. It wasn't raisins in the potato salad. Like I said, it's not necessarily a cookout classic either. Would I watch it again? Maybe. Is it something that I just have to watch again? No. But I was surprised that there were parts that I did just fine, laugh out loud, funny. And then some parts I think that they leaned to that were supposed to be funny. Excuse me. As you can tell, I'm a little congested. I feel like I'm about to cough. Hold on. I'm sorry. I think that they lean too heavily into the stereotypes. So, um, well, I guess that does it for this week's episode of the Popcorn Wine Down. Please be sure to listen, like, follow, and comment anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can keep up to date on the latest in entertainment and pop culture news, as well as other amazing culture goodness at the popcornwinedown.com. Plug, pop,
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 pop.
pop, 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 pop.
Excuse me.
There you go.
No, I don't have the Rona. It's just whatever's in the air. But anyway, thank you as always, and be sure to join us next week when we review Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantum. I'm looking forward to that. Are you? Okay. Full disclosure, on the list for reasons that we'll talk about next week. So, God, please let it be good. Please
Let it be good.
Okay. So, until next time, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Tammy. Bye.
Peace.